Okay, so I guess Bentley wants to be a part of the read aloud today. So we're continuing the one and only Ivan. I hope you got to tune into Mondays before now so that you don't ruin anything that happened. And we last left off by the end, where one day, a still day, when the hot air hummed, the humans came. And I kind of asked a question to see if you guys thought about, well, what does he mean by the end? And what do you think these humans are here for? So I just want you to think about that really quick before I start. And I guess who's going to stick here? Just like that. All right. Vine. After they captured my sister and me, they put us in a cramped, dark crate that smells of urine and fear. Somehow I knew that in order to live, I had to let my old life die. But my sister could not let go of her home. It held to her like a vine, stretching across the miles, comforting, strangling. We are still in our crate when she looked at me without seeing, and I knew that the vine had finally snapped. The temporary human. It was Mack who opened that crate, Mack who bought me, and Mack who raised me like a human baby. I wore diapers, I drank from a bottle, I slept in human beds, sat in human chairs, listened while human words swarmed around me like angry bees. Mac had a wife back then. Helen was quick to laugh, but quick to anger too, especially when I broke something, which was often. Here's what I broke when I lived with Mac and Helen: one crib, 46 glasses, 7 lamps, one couch, 3 shower curtains, and 3 shower curtain rods, one blender, one TV, one radio, 3 toasts. But they were my own. I broke the blender when I squeezed 3 tubes of toothpaste and a bottle of glue into it. I broke my toes attempting to swing from a lamp fixture on the ceiling. I broke 46 glasses. Well, it turns out that there are many ways to break a glass. Every weekend, Mac and Helen took me in their convertible to a fast food restaurant, where they ordered me french fries and a strawberry shake. Mac loved to see the expression on the cashier's face when he drove up and said, "Hey, can I have extra ketchup for my kid?" I went to baseball games, to the grocery store, to the movie theater, even to the circus. They didn't have the gorilla. I rode a little motorbike and blew out candles on a birthday cake. My life as a human was a glamorous one, although my parents, traditional sorts, would not have approved. And here's Ivan in his diaper. Hunger. In my new life as a human, I was well tended. I ate lettuce leaves with Thousand Island dressing and caramel apples and popcorn with butter. My belly ballooned, like mine. But hunger, like food, comes in many shapes and colors. At night, lying alone in my poo pajamas, I felt hungry for a skilled touch of a grooming friend, for the cheerful grunts of play fighting, for the easy safety of a nearby troop, forging through the shadows. Remember what happened to Tag, I told myself. Don't think about the jungle. Still, sometimes I lay awake, wishing for the warmth of another just like me, asleep in a night nest of tender prayer plant leaves. I liked having sips of soda poured into my mouth like a bubbling waterfall. But every now and then, I longed on to search for a tender stalk of arrowroot, to feel the tease of mango, just so close out of reach. Still life. One day, Helen came home with something large and flat, wrapped in brown paper. "Look what I bought today," she said excitedly as she tore the paper. "A painting to go over the living room couch." "Fruit in a bowl?" Max said with a shrug. "Big deal." "This is fine art. It's called still life," Helen explained, "and I think it's lovely." I dashed over to examine the painting, marveling at the colors and shapes. "See," said Max's wife. "Ivan likes it." Ivan likes to roll poop and throw it at squirrels, Max said. I couldn't take my eyes off the apples and bananas and grapes in the picture. They looked so real, so inviting, so edible. I reached out to touch a grape, and Helen slapped my hand. Bad boy, Ivan, don't touch. She jerked her thumb at Mac. Honey, go get a hammer and a nail, would ya? While Mac and Helen were busy in the living room, I wandered into the kitchen. A cake covered in thick chocolate frosting sat on the counter. Oh, I like cake. Love it, in fact. But it wasn't eating I was thinking about. It was the painting. The frosting peaked and dipped like waves on a tiny pond. It looked rich and gooey, dark and smooth. Guess what it looked like? It looked like mud. I scooped up a handful of frosting, and then I scooped up another. I headed to the refrigerator door. It was perfect. An empty, white, waiting canvas. The frosting wasn't as easy to work with as jungle mud. It was stickier, and of course, it was way more tempting to eat. But I kept at it. I scraped off every last bit of that frosting. I may have eaten a little bit of cake, too. I don't remember what I was trying to paint. A banana, most likely? I suppose I knew I was going to get in trouble. But at that moment, I didn't care. I wanted to make something, anything, the way I used to. I wanted to be an artist again. Do you think Helen and Mac are going to be happy about his choice to draw on the refrigerator with chocolate frosting? Oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Punishment. I soon learned that humans can screech louder than monkeys. After that, I wasn't allowed to go in the kitchen again. Babies. Back in those days, the big top mall was smaller. It had a pony ride, a wooden train that bustled around the parking lot, a few parrots, and a surely spider monkey. But when Mac brought me, a baby gorilla dressed in a crisp tuxedo, to the mall, well, everything changed. People came from far and wide to have their pictures taken with me. They brought me blocks and a toy guitar. They held me in their laps. Once I even held a baby in my lap. She was small and slippery. Bubbles flowed from her lips. She squeezed my fingers. Her rear was puffy with padding, and her legs bowed like bent twigs. I made a face. She made a face. I grunted. She grunted. I was so afraid she would fall that I squeezed her tightly, and then her mother yanked her away. I wonder if my mother ever worried about dropping us. We always held on, but that's easier to do when your mother is furry. Human babies are ugly, but their eyes are like our baby's eyes. Too big for their faces and for the whole world. Beds. One day, after many weeks of loud talking, Helen packed a bag and slammed the front door, and she never came back. I don't know why. I never know the why of humans. That night, I slept with Mac in his bed. My old nests were woven of leaves and sticks shaped like his bathtub, cool green cocoons. Mac's bed, like mine, was flat, hot, but without sticks or stars. Still, he made a sleeping sound like the rumble my father used to make when all was well. A sound from deep inside his belly. My place. Mac grew sullen. I grew bigger. I became what I was meant to be. Too large for chairs, too strong for hugs, and too big for human life. I tried to stay calm, to move with dignity. I did my best to eat daintily. But human ways are hard to learn, especially when you're not a human. When I saw my new domain, I was thrilled. And who wouldn't have been? It had no furniture to break, no glass to smash, no toilets to drop Mack's keys into. It even had a tire swing. I was relieved to have my own place. Somehow, I didn't realize I'd be here quite so long. Now I drink Pepsi, eat old apples, and watch reruns on TV. But many days I forgot what I'm supposed to be. Am I a human? Or am I a gorilla? Humans have so many words, more than they truly need. Still, they have no name for what I am. 9,876 days. Whew, Ruby is finally asleep. I watch her chest rise and fall. Bob, too, is snoring. But my mind is still racing. For perhaps the first time in forever, I've been remembering. It's an odd story to remember, I have to admit. My story has a strange shape. A stunted beginning and an endless middle. I counted all the days that I've lived with humans. Gorillas count as well as anyone, although it's not particularly useful skill to have in the wild. I've forgotten so many things, and yet I always know how precisely, how many days I've been in this domain. I take one of those magic markers that Julia gave me, and I make an X, a small one, on my painted jungle wall. I make more X's, and more, and more. I make an X for every day of my life with humans. My marks look like this. The rest of the night I mark the days, and when I'm done, my wall looks like this. And so on, until there are 9,876 X's marching across my wall, like a parade of ugly insects. A visit. It's almost morning when I hear steps. It's Mack. He has a sharp smell. Woof, and he weaves as he walks. He stands next to my domain. His eyes are red. He is staring out the window. The empty parking lot. Ivan, my man, he mumbles, Ivan. He pressed his forehead against the glass. We've been through a lot, you and me. So I'm going to stop there. And my point of conversation today is, why do you think Mack has red eyes? And what do you think he's about to tell Ivan? Good news? Bad news? He's staring at an empty parking lot. All right, until next time, I love you guys.